Hey everyone, Chris Haddon, Jason Balin here with the Private Lenders Podcast, sponsored by our lending company, hardmoneybankers.com, and also our mastermind group for hard money lenders and aspiring hard money lenders, hardmoneymastermind.com. Topic for today, good news. Old clients have been coming back. Clients that we used to lend to years ago haven't really been able to, because there's been so many options recently, have been coming back around. Very cool, very cool. We have some people who we lent, as much as 100 loans to over the years. And this is back in the years ago, 2010 to 14, maybe something like that. And then more capital started flooding in the market, and that capital is getting more aggressive and it's getting cheaper. And a lot of things got shaken up this year. Granted, a lot of those financing options are still out there, but they're not that easy anymore. And they're not that cheap. So that doesn't mean that we're plan A for a lot of these top-notch clients that we used to lend to. We used to be plan A. And we've probably been plan C for the past few years. And now we're firmly back at plan B. Like, they might have cheaper options from a local bank or a credit line or maybe an institutional sort of lender, but their next option is us. So we're getting more looks, better stuff, better loan amounts, higher quality stuff. And you've been seeing it every day, right? Every day, every week. Yep,
every day, every week. Just FYI, your audio is a little jacked, so you might want to sit a little bit closer to the computer when you're talking, but that's all good. Okay, so yeah, let's back up a little bit to see where that's at. So keep in mind, years ago, prior to institutional-backed hard money lenders, they didn't, most real estate investors only had a few options. They could go to their bank, they could use their own cash, or they could use real hard money or private money. But real, private capital, not this institutional backed capital. If you want to know more about that, we've done tons and tons of video, not necessarily bashing institutional backed capital, because we certainly aren't doing that. That being said, it is a different product than regular private capital or hard money, where there's local private money getting put into the deals. The institutional backed capital is is hard money lenders that are using Wall Street money or institutions to lend out, and in essence, they're just facilitating the transaction. So different conversation. We've done plenty of videos on that. So 5 years ago, they didn't have that, right? It was using hard money, banks, or kind of their own capital. And we've done a lot. Over the years, we've done over 3,000 loans, right? So we have lots of investor groups that we've done 40 loans for, 50 loans for, 60 loans for, 100 loans for, and we would do, I don't want to say all their deals, but we did lots of deals for them. And the years they would drop out, because hey, if you're paying 13 and 3, years ago it was more expensive than that. But if you're paying 13 and 3 and you get an institution to give you money at 8 and 1, like, that's a lot of money if you're doing volume. If it's on a one-off deal here and there, it's not that big of a deal, but it's a lot of money. So I get it. No bad blood. We still had good relationships with them. And the good news is we still did some deals for them here and there. Deals that had to close very quickly, deals that had to get a little bit more creative, things like that. But over the last few months, since COVID hit, a lot of those investors have reached back out. Some of them are having a hard time stomaching that our terms are still 13 and 3. When they're used to getting 8 and 1 or 9 and 1 or 8 and 2, and they're like, you guys are still 13 and 3. It's like, yeah, like that's how our business model is set up, and that's how we're going to do it. But that being said, it's good that we're still getting opportunities and looks, and talking with a lot of other hard money lenders like yourself throughout the country. They're getting these deals as well. So the quality of borrower is good. I'd like to say everyone's a 700 credit score, but they're about a 650 or so credit score. They all have cash that they're willing to put into the deal, and the deals are pretty good in general. So that they're getting. So all in all, it's a good thing, and we're looking forward to having good quality borrowers like that that are coming back, and it just shows us where the market is right now. Number one, the real estate market. Number two, the financial markets of the type of capital that's out there in this space.
Yeah, so a couple important points I was jotting down earlier before we started that I wanted to really hammer home for all the private lenders out there, or people who want to be lending and controlling their own money themselves. One is dedicate yourself to a business model that's going to be around, that's going to stay put, not something that's a flavor of the month. Now, if you want to use a flavor of the month as a side sort of avenue for some additional revenue, by all means do so. Nothing wrong with that. Everyone has side deals, totally cool. But have your bread and butter, your meat and potatoes, the basis of your business be something that's going to last. And this niche of private money that you control has been around for a long time without interruption. It's there. As long as you do good deals, it's there. If you're depending on money from another source, that could be there in a good market, then it disappears, right? Like banks jump in and out of investment deals all the time. Like banks will be doing, hard money type lending. It's not hard money, but like investment rehab lending sometimes, and then they're out for 5 years and then they're back, right? And then you see some of this stuff like the institutional money, the Wall Street capital, jump into a hot market for 5 or 7 years and they'll be gone for a long time. So point being, dedicate yourself to a model that's going to be around. 2, the control. The control is huge. Having control of your transactions, your underwriting, what you put money into is gigantic, because otherwise you're just at the mercy of some outside finance company that doesn't, really care. They're going to do their own risk management and give you money or not, however they see fit. So the control part of it is huge. And then also the profit margin. This business of private lending is supposed to have good spreads. It is. It just is. It's always been that way. Any kind of private money, if you look at it versus institutional. So like if you look at a regular bank doing loans versus private equity or venture capital, that private money is always shooting for higher returns. It's just the way it goes. Bank and public money is different. They play a volume game, right? And they do it on much lower margins. So it's kind of a shame when you see some of these lenders out here in the market take what's supposed to be a private money game with high margins and turn it into a bank-like vehicle with low margins. It's a shame. That's not what it's supposed to be, right? So those 3 things we really want to hammer home. Dedicate yourself to a business model that's going to be around. Have control over your deals. That's what this business is supposed to be about. And maintain your margins. It's okay if you do fewer deals. It's about the bottom line. It's not about the loan volume, right?
Yeah. And keep in mind, the main reason you want to become a hard money lender, one of the biggest reasons is the investment vehicle that you create for yourself and your family and your friends of lending out capital and making that return. I mean, it's an investment vehicle. That's what it is. I mean, if you're just brokering loans to an institution, or if you're just originating loans for someone else to fund, like those guys are making the money on the deal, right? You're making a small sliver of it and you're sending it over to somebody else. The hard work, why do you think that these capital sources just buy the paper on the secondary market, right? Because originating is freaking hard. You're already doing the hard work,
yeah.
Right? You're doing the hard work. You deserve the higher return. And I know the easy way out is just sending, brokering the deal or doing it that way, but it's just not a long-term business model. And again, if you want to do it, like Chris said, as a side hustle, or you want to do it kind of short term, that's fine. But like spend the time, devote to going out and raising capital. We've done tons and tons of videos on that. We talk about that in our mastermind group all the time, related to that, and treat it as a business. Go out there, find deals, underwrite them the proper way to make sure they're good deals, raise the capital, service the loan, and rinse and repeat, and set it up that way. It's a good thing. So, and the good news is that, a few things. Number one, this model's been around a long time, and I would predict that it's going to continue to be around. There's always a need for some sort of private capital. I mean, there's so many different types of private capital places out there, right? Oh, I need, payday lending. That's private capital. I need this, I need that, right? There's all types of private, anti or non-institutional backed capital. There's always a need for that, right? And I'll tell you that even though the institutional capital sources came into our space, it didn't slow us down. Our production has stayed the same over the past years when they've been there. Even though they're able to take away some of our bigger borrowers, didn't mean that there wasn't another borrower behind us that still wanted capital or private capital from that. So that's a good thing, right? If these institutions go out of business, or someone decides to stop lending, then you're out of business. It's that simple. I mean, we've had a lot of private investors that work hand in hand with us. So if one decides this isn't right for them anymore, that's fine. There's somebody else. So the good news is there's always a demand for this type of capital. And no matter what happens, it works. You can scale it up. You can scale it down. You can mold it to yourself. I mean, we have a client that, has a little bit of money liquid to himself, and his goal is to do 2 deals a month, right? And deploy some money on the street and use that as a very passive investment vehicle I mean, it's a little bit active because he's got to operate. He's got to find the deals, but he's not looking for staff. He's just looking to deploy his own money. And that's what, works great for him. So you can be a big business, you can be a small business, but the good news is the model is going to stay intact. It's a great time right now to jump into the game if you're not already in it right now and pick up market share because it's out there. And a lot of the other hard money lenders are still chasing around the institutional capital and getting strung along from them right now. So you can come in, be that private lender, that hard money lender that uses local private capital, and you can really, create a good amount of market share.
Yeah, a couple add-ons there to the capital conversation, like the capital raising side that you control, both your money and other people's money. Now, I'm sure the first thing that people say once they say, oh, you should be lending your own money, and they're like, oh, well, I don't have enough to do a loan, so that's out the window. No, it's not out the window. You know how you accumulate your own capital in your lender account, as we call it, lender account inside our escrow account for each one of us? 10 grand at a time, right?
Yep.
10 grand at a time. Chunk it down to that. It doesn't need to be any more. You don't need to be like, oh, I don't have 100 grand or 200 grand, whatever your average loan amount is. It's fine. Come in at 10. And then, in a couple months or however long it takes to save up some more, you got another 10. And then fast forward down the road, and the stuff's earning good interest, right? Like it's earning 12% plus if you're lending at the right rates. It starts growing quicker than you would think. It really does. Yeah. You keep contributing.
And let's talk about that. Let's say you lend out at 13%, right? And no points. I mean, we lend out at 13 and 3, but say 13% with no points, and you have $10,000 that you put into your first deal, right? Well, guess what that is at the end of the year, right? That's $1,300, right? So let's say you close a loan. Typically every loan that we close between points, servicing, some other fees, we make about $10,000 on it, right? So we decided, let's not take that money. Let's just put that into another loan. Well, that spits out another $1,300 a year or $108 a month passively, right? Just because our capital is to work, right? So that's based off 10,000. Let's say you save up a bunch of money and you got $100,000. Well, that spits out $13,000 a year, right? That's $1,083 a month. Now keep in mind, that's just interest rate return. That's not points and other stuff. Let's say you have $1 million that you want to put on the streets, right? The average life expectancy of a loan is about 6 months, right? You charge 13% and 3 points, right? So you charge 3 points twice a year, right? Because for the first 6 months and the second 6 months for 2 deals, plus you're getting the 13% return, right? So you got 13 plus 6. So that's a 19% return, not including other fees, stuff like that. So, do the math. On $1 million, that's $190,000 a year, right? I mean, that's a ton of money, right? $16,000 a month almost. $16,000 a month because you deployed $1 million. And well, I don't have $1 million. Okay, well, guess what? Go out and make $1 million by doing this one at a time and doing another one and another one and another one. Like that's what you have. Real private lenders and hard money lenders, this is what they're doing every day to build their net worth. What fake ones are doing are going out and originating a loan to sell it to, I don't even have to name names. All of them, institutional backed lenders. And they're making a point and a little bit of other, arbitrage on the deal, right? Something minuscule. And they're missing the point of, hey, we're just going to send it to them and then we're out, right? Well, guess what? All good loans and all good borrowers, the best part about this business is not like doing a loan for a homeowner that never comes back to you. And that's part of this title. It's the same borrowers doing loans over and over and over. I mean, 70% of the loans that we do are the same borrowers over and over and over and over and over. And they're super, super simple, right? They're coming back to you and getting loans from you over and over and over. So I think a lot of people just don't get it, but I don't know. I don't get what they don't get.
That's okay. I mean, if they don't want to get it, that's okay. We'll keep preaching. We'll keep preaching the word because we believe it's important totally. And yeah, just summarize a couple of things there. Like one, when it comes to investing in your own deals, it works at any size. It works at any scale. It works at 10 grand. It works at 100. Works at $1 million. The numbers are the same. Like Jason said, if you added up, turning that money twice a year, doing 6-month loans, 19% return. Like you want that on any amount of money. 10, 50, whatever it may be, 500K. And then also, like we were saying before, like set yourself up for the long term. Like if you want to be in this for the long haul, if you want to have a good career, controlling your own stuff with good margins, get into something that's going to last. Referring deals out to other companies, it's okay. It's okay. But it's not always there, one, and it just is not profitable enough. It's not as good as controlling your own stuff. And we'll get into some raising capital stuff on a future podcast, because we can talk about that all day as well. Just like the rest of this business, we can talk about all the time. If we weren't on video and audio with you, we would just be talking about this business anyway, because it's what we like. It's what we're passionate about. If you haven't done so yet, definitely check out the monthly trainings and all the other courses and everything else at hardmoneymastermind.com. If you want to learn more about our lending company, see how we run it, maybe apply for a loan, maybe just learn in general about how we structure everything, put everything together, check out hardmoneybankers.com. And yeah, anything else to add before we wrap up?
No, I think that's it. Yeah. If you guys need anything, feel free to reach out. And we got another good podcast coming next week, and we will chat with you then.